matter what, people will commit to misunderstanding you. What's most important is your commitment to understanding yourself. Hello, you guys. My name is Nkira Kamadani, known as NK, and welcome back to Misunderstood. 30 things I learned in my 30th year. If you are listening to this episode the day it comes out, my birthday is in 48 hours. It is on October 1st, and I will be 31 years old. Essentially, I don't feel 31. I don't feel any older than, honestly, 27. Regardless, I thought it made sense to recount a lot of the lessons and a lot of the life tips and hacks I've learned up until my 30th year. Anybody who is in my position who is also in their 30s, but also speaking to people who are younger than me, if you feel maybe a little lost, maybe a little unaware of some things happening in life, or you just feel like you need some guidance, I do believe that this episode is absolutely for you. Before we get started, please take some time to rate Misunderstood, this podcast, 5 stars. This podcast is a very important part of my life, and it has become very much so over the last few months. It's really exciting to see how many people are resonating with this show. If you've listened to at least one episode, it is very important for you to take 1 second and rate this podcast. Rating it 5 stars helps extremely with pushing the podcast out to new audiences, to larger audiences. One day we will be able to do a lot more with this podcast, and I will be able to bring you guys bigger and better episodes, which is the absolute goal. So once again, take some time to rate this show 5 stars on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you're listening. Thank you so much. So, as the title of this episode alludes, I have 30 items on my list that I'm going to go through one by one with you. While you're listening, I urge you to reflect on your life, wherever you are at in your life. And it honestly doesn't really matter how old you are. This episode, I do believe, can span so many different generations. These are true life lessons. Some of them are a little silly, but most of them are pretty serious in terms of really understanding yourself to your core, really applying your learnings about yourself and how you can make your day-to-day and your overall life better. One of the biggest pillars of Misunderstood is to make sure that we understand ourselves above everything else that we experience, because we spend the most time with ourselves and we need to make our lives the happiest place it can be. So with this list, I really hope you keep that in mind, and let's begin. Number 1, find gratitude in everything. I have my gratitude journal that I try to write in every single day. I would say most of my life, I have found myself forgetting about the little things and forgetting about the things that I absolutely take for granted, like living in a safe place, having clean clothes to wear, having access to clean water, going to the grocery store and picking whatever I want and not even thinking twice about how much it is. These are things that I take for granted, and a lot of people take for granted. And I find that every single time I stop and actually out loud or write down my gratitude, what I'm thankful for, it makes me take accountability for this life. This life is not guaranteed. There's so many aspects of life that so many people in the world don't even get to experience. So where I'm at right now, it is extremely important for me to always practice gratitude, always tell myself the things I'm thankful for. Yes, I worked hard to get here, but there is also always a level of gratitude that we should all have for even getting up every single day. That is something to be grateful for. Once I started to lean more into gratitude practices, I have felt like a more grounded person, and I think I've also been able to look at the world and look at day-to-day life with a lot more grace and a lot more happiness, which has really went a long way. Number 2, fight the war, not the battles. With this one, I essentially mean stand up for yourself when necessary. Always stand up for yourself. I have learned over my 30 years that I must speak up for myself because a lot of people won't speak up on my behalf. I need to lean into being more comfortable with speaking up when something is wrong, speaking up when I'm not being treated right, not being respected, because truly other people will treat you how you tell them to for the most part. So absolutely speak up for yourself in any and all cases. But there is a caveat with everything. So like I said, fight the war, not the battles. Fight when it's truly, truly necessary, but don't waste your breath. All of the little things that are inconveniencing you, the little things that are annoying and we don't want to deal with, absolutely. Those happen so often, but we don't have to waste our breath on things that aren't worth breaking our peace over. The war needs to happen when it's necessary. The war is a conversation that needs to be had, that is overdue with whoever you are having conflict with. And maybe that is the deciding factor of if this person's going to be in your life anymore or not. And maybe this is also impeding on your peace and your well-being, and you feel like life is kind of at a standstill without this conversation. So that is what the quote war is, something that you literally cannot avoid. But the battles are a little more frequent, and these are the things that you can avoid, and you don't have to waste your breath on these things. So don't just block them out. Just remember that they are not making or breaking you. They are just small inconveniences in your life that are temporary and you will get through. Number 3, great friends don't come easily. I have a few episodes already live about specifically friendships, and we'll definitely be pouring more into that topic very soon. But what I want to say here is friendships, really good, long-lasting friendships, do not come easily. Why? Because they take work. They take constant effort. They take reciprocation. They take conflict resolution. They take swallowing your ego. They take sacrifices. And here's the thing. A lot of people won't do that list I just said, which is why great friends don't come easily. You can have as many surface level friends in the world because they aren't long-lasting friends. They are situational friends. They are party friends. They are transactional friends. Those are not real friends. Those are not the friends who know you inside and out. Those are not the friends who are going to come be with you in your darkest hour. Which is why I say again, great friends do not come easily. But when you do come across great friends, make sure to pour into those friendships. One thing about me, when I care about somebody, it is so damn apparent, and I put in so much love, loyalty, care, trust into said people, and I do expect that in return. And honestly, that is why I do not have a lot of close friends. I only have a few, and that is honestly how it should be. Your few close friends are way more valuable than an entire room of people who don't even know you. Please remember that. I referenced this in a past podcast episode where on my 25th birthday, I had this huge birthday party where 50 people were invited. We sailed around the San Francisco Bay. I remember so vividly wanting so badly to have as many people there as possible that I didn't even care if half of the people did not like me or maybe talk shit about me or weren't real friends. I didn't care. But again, I was 25 and I'm 30, about to be 31. I couldn't care less if I only have a few people around me, because those are the people who will fight for me, who will ride for me, who actually give a shit about me and will show up and be there and actually be a true lasting friend. That's all I need. There has been so many years of my 20s specifically where I felt really insecure and really sad about not having this huge group of friends. Mind you, I've never been a huge group of friends person. I've always been so good at one-on-one, which speaks to my emotional intelligence, which speaks to me as a friend, that when I appreciate somebody and when I call someone a real friend, you'll see that more in my actions rather than the words I'm saying. That is how I show up, and that is how the people in my life who are there, truly there, that's how they show up for me. And honestly, now at 30 years old, I can finally say that is enough for me. Yes, I'm still on my journey of making more friends in New York and just making more friends in my adulthood. That is really important to me, but at the end of the day, I'm not forcing friendships that aren't working. because if it works, it's going to be easy because I will be giving and they will be giving. No matter time or distance, we will maintain a friendship. Number 4, live in the city of your dreams. As a lot of you guys know, I live in New York City, which is the city of my dreams. If this is your first time coming across my podcast, hello. I live in New York City and I've been living here for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in February. It still feels like a pinch me moment every single time I walk down the streets of downtown and see the Chrysler Building, see the Empire State Building, have these quintessential New York moments that I literally dreamed about for so many years and honestly thought that they would just be dreams. I never fully knew how I was going to make it happen, but I was very adamant about trying and never giving up on this dream. I think it is really important to go to your energetic city. I've mentioned this on a past episode. I believe it's episode 31, Your Space is Sacred. It is so important to live at least a chapter in your life in a place that lights you up and a place that makes you feel so whole. I was born and raised in Federal Way, Washington, which is close to Seattle, Washington, which is usually what I say to everyone who asks where I'm from. I lived in San Francisco for 10 years. That's where I went to college. And then I came to New York. So I am a big city girl. I am very used to big cities. But something about New York City specifically has changed my perception and my brain chemistry of what it means to live in an environment that fuels your creativity, that sparks inspiration, and that makes you literally feel like you can do anything. That is how New York City feels to me. It's an infectious feeling, and it is a feeling that I want to always feel, which is why I say live in the city of your dreams, at least a chapter of your life. I know that New York City is not my forever, but I told myself I would have regretted so deeply if I didn't lean into this experience when I had the opportunity. I had a window, I took it, and honestly, it is still one of the most proud decisions I've ever made. It was hard as hell, but it was one of the most proud things I've ever done in my life, and I would do it all over again. Number 5, book the doctor's appointments. We have to put our health first. Your bodily health is right up there with taking care of yourself. That is the most important thing. We cannot function without our bodies. We can't do what we do without our bodies. We need to make sure that we are bodily taken care of. So booking your doctor's appointments needs to happen. And yes, that means the dentist appointments. That means your eye doctor. That means everything. I just took it upon myself to spend probably an hour booking all of my appointments. I booked my annual physical. I booked my OBGYN appointment. I booked my eye doctor's appointment. I booked my dentist appointment. And if you've been listening for a few episodes, you know that I'm also dealing with a knee injury. So I just booked an orthopedic visit and will probably be starting physical therapy very soon. I am really happy that I just took that initiative for myself and sat and booked all of them at once. It's going to be a very busy next few weeks with all these appointments, but I'm happy that they're on the calendar and it is one step closer to just taking care of myself because no one's going to do it for me. I have to do that on my own. This is just one of those things that you have to prioritize and you have to do, even though it's kind of annoying to book the appointments, deal with insurance, but it is for your health, which is invaluable at the end of the day. Number 6, listen to your gut always. Your gut will always tell you what to do. Your gut speaks to you before your brain catches up. I learned that the hard way so many times. I've learned this with past relationships, specifically where my gut told me a few months before I finally opened my mouth and ended the relationship or had the conversation. That was extremely hard to have. My gut deep down was screaming at me. I've learned over time that the more I grow and the more I mature, my gut will be that much more apparent. And my gut will say very clearly, this is not what you should be doing. This is what you should be doing. You should pivot your career. You should end the relationship. You should not be friends with this girl anymore. Number 7, walk away from people and situations that feel wrong. This is kind of bridging off of number 6, but specifically walking away from people who really should not be in your life anymore. It's tough. This is probably one of the toughest segments of life that I've dealt with is walking away from people who really don't deserve a space in my life. I've kept a lot of people around for far too long out of fear of being lonely, out of fear of not knowing where my next steps were, or feeling like I didn't have a quote home or a community somewhere. So I kept staying in a situation that was wrong, that was unfulfilling, that was detrimental, and that didn't add any value to my life. It actually did the exact opposite. So walking away from the people and the situations that felt wrong is the right decision. It always is. And yes, this does go for family too. And that is a lot more complex. Societally, we feel as though we have to put up with family because they are, quote, family. However, they're not acting like family in the traditional sense. So it's really hard to wrap your head around that, right? I've dealt with this a lot. I encourage you to listen to episode 12 of the podcast, which is You Choose Your Family. That will shed some light on some of the things I'm saying here. But I believe that distancing yourself, even if it's temporary, will give you more perspective and will help you heal. I had to do this with my family. In 2021, I did not go home for Christmas. And that was the very first time I did not go home in my entire life. So essentially, I did not go home for a whole 2 years. Those 2 years were a really hard time in my life. I was dealing with a lot of emotional strain. All I can say to that point for now is no one should look down on you for walking away from people and situations just because they don't agree with it. I know that I had some really hard conversations with my family once I reconnected, but I'm really happy that I had the strength after the fact to let them know this is what I needed to do for myself because I value myself and I give a shit about myself and I respect myself enough to step away from things that are actively hurting me in order to make sure that I'm okay. Number 8, move your body and stretch daily. I've been actually experiencing a lot of back pain. That is not okay. We should not be experiencing back pain at the ripe age of 30 years old. Thankfully, have a list of stretches that I've actually had for a very long time. I've had this list of stretches for over a year. It's up to me to implement the stretches. It's up to me to take my butt to the gym and do the stretches, or even take out my mat and do the stretches in my apartment. I can absolutely do that. That is up to me. But daily stretching, I'm realizing how important that is for the body. I'm a pretty active person, so it is even more important for me to be stretching. Also, with the move your body segment, moving your body in the ways that make sense to you and the ways that you enjoy. Most of my life, I was working out in the ways that I thought I needed to be rather than what do I want to be doing? I had a large stint of time where I thought that I needed to be doing cycling in order to work out, and I found that I hate cycling. I hate cycling so much. I'm sorry for the people who love Soul Cycle. That's not my truth. It's just not something I connect with. Therefore, I shouldn't be doing it. There was also a large portion of my life that I hated running, and I've mentioned this at length, but now as I've gotten older, and really in the last 7-8 months, I have been loving running. And aside from being injured, I've been running very, very consistently. And I found as an adult, it's something that actually brings me a lot of happiness and a lot of endorphins. And I am really excited to continue seeing how my running journey unfolds. I also love Pilates, specifically the reformer Pilates. I actually haven't taken a class in so long, but hoping to take a class in the next few months. Strength training specifically, I've learned how crucial that is for our bodily health. And when I say strength training, I think a lot of people misunderstand this. And a lot of people think that you have to be carrying really, really heavy weights to say that you're strength training. That's not what we're doing. You need to be carrying the weights that your body can physically handle, but you do need a little bit of a challenge. However, this challenge is a gradual process. You're not supposed to start with carrying something that's 50, 60 pounds over what you can handle. You're going to hurt yourself. You need to slowly, week by week, build up the weight. I started doing strength training in 2021. It honestly changed the composition of my body very quickly. And also it helped with other health benefits. My sleep, my energy levels, my metabolism all improved when I started strength training. So I highly recommend looking into that if you want those benefits as well. Number 9, being single does not equal being unworthy. This is something I wish I really, really believed in earlier in life. When I was in high school, so 16, 17, when all the girls at my school were getting asked to the prom and getting asked to homecoming, I actually never got asked to any of my high school dances with a boy. So I would always go with my girlfriends. Those were very, very, very hard years. And I have referenced that high school was really not a good time in my life. I believe that was the start of a lot of the spiraling. I can never forget those years of high school that honestly I want to suppress a lot, but those years of high school were really tough because that's where I saw my peers having boyfriends and having their first kisses and all of these things where I did not experience any of that in high school. And it started this whole mental spiral of me wanting to feel loved and me wanting to get the attention of boys because other people were getting the attention of boys. And it felt like something that I had to win. I had to win their approval and win their attraction and win their affection, where no, I needed to pour into myself more and I needed to understand my value and the fact that being single should not be looked at in a negative way. Society, unfortunately, paints this picture of feeling the need to be in a relationship, have a boyfriend, have the male attention, which is such a negative viewpoint, especially for young, impressionable girls like I was. But as I grew up and as I got older, I learned more and more that I am so worthy of a relationship. I am so worthy of getting attention. But it also isn't about them. It's about me. Am I happy? Do I feel like I have a fruitful life? Do I have things that I'm looking forward to? Because honestly, being single has been great. Yes, I want a relationship. Yes, I'm ready for one. I'm ready for a partner and I'm ready to open my life up to someone else in that way. However, my years of being single in no way, shape, or form make me unworthy. My years of being single are the reason I am the woman I am today. The accomplished, the self-assured, confident woman I am today is because of the years I was single. And nothing and no one can ever take that away from me, which is such a beautiful thing. Your worth does not lie in your relationship status. Especially as a 30-year-old, I'm learning that waiting for the right person is far more important than settling. Number 10, read the genres you enjoy. I heard a quote about 2 years ago now, and it really changed my perception with reading. The quote was, "Life is too short to read books you don't like." And I love that quote so much because it's absolutely true. We should be reading the genres that we like. We shouldn't spend time reading things that we don't enjoy. The genres that I've been loving reading recently are romance, of course. I've also been dipping my toe into smut, which has been fun. I'm about to start a thriller book. I do like self-help books. I do have a few self-help books, but I have been really loving leaning into more of the fun storylines. And it's been so much fun to love reading again and to relearn this part of myself that was so strong in me as a kid. Number 11, try any and all hobbies. Hobbies make us really well-rounded. Whenever anyone had asked me, what do you like to do for fun? What are your hobbies? I could never answer that question, and that always bothered me because I realized that there's so much more to me than what I do for work. Work should not be your whole personality. We should have so many other things that light us up that don't involve working. So at the beginning of this year, I decided to really lean into hobbies, things outside of my work that make me happy. And once I finally dove into a ton of hobbies, I learned the ones that I really enjoyed. I love scrapbooking. I love crafting. I love reading. I love running. It's been so fun trying so many different hobbies. Earlier this year, I picked up crocheting again, which helped me feel really connected to my grandmother because she taught me how to crochet when I was a kid. It's so important to try. Just try different things. Trying is cool. As a 30-year-old, I am still trying new things and learning new things about myself because that is the point. That is the whole damn point. Number 12, get your hair trimmed every 2 to 3 months. I have such a long-standing history with my hair and my hair journey. Currently, I'm in a state with my hair that all I want is to grow it out. I have my bob, as I've mentioned previously, and my full focus is to grow it out. The most important thing with hair growth, other than keeping your scalp clean, is getting quarterly trims. Your trims will make sure that your hair continues to grow. I actually just got my hair trimmed and I already put in my calendar for when I'm getting it trimmed before the end of the year. But honestly, growing up is realizing that your hair will not grow if you do not trim it. If you do not trim it, you will keep your split ends, and your split ends are damaging and breaking your hair. That has been one of the biggest, most humbling lessons of life that I have learned. Number 13, take collagen and your vitamins. I take AG1 and I've been using AG1 for over 2 years now. I started using it when I moved to New York. Honestly, it's been really good for my bodily health and just feeling really balanced day to day, and it's been helping with my sleep. But also, collagen is so incredible. I put my collagen with my AG1. I drink it every morning. The power of collagen is real. Your nails will grow so fast. They will also look so healthy. Your skin will glow from inside out, and your hair will also be stronger and more healthy. Collagen has so many benefits, especially for women. Definitely take your collagen. I promise you, it will make so much of a difference in your overall appearance. Number 13, write down how you feel. I've been doing this forever. Honestly, since I was a kid. I've mentioned that I grew up having diaries, journals, still have all of them to this day. And it's really cool to look back and see what I wrote when I was literally 10 years old, 9 years old. But I still do it. I don't do it every day, but I do it when I feel really compelled to write. And even if I'm not writing in a physical journal, because sometimes I don't have time to go grab my journal, I write everything down in my notes app. There was a TikTok that went around recently about a woman's notes app is probably the most private place you can ever be in, which is so true. Literally nobody will ever see the inner workings of my notes app. I have also over 2,300 notes. A little insane, but this is just proving the point that I write down how I'm feeling in a moment that I need to get something off my chest, in a moment that I need to craft a response or make sure that I'm getting all my points across. Writing down how I feel has helped me in so many aspects of my life, with work, with friends, with family, everything. And even if you don't send the message or you don't relay how you feel to whoever, it is nice to just have a time capsule of how you felt in that moment. It is a therapy practice in and of itself. Number 15, you'll regret not wearing it. There have been so many times in my life where I have wanted to wear something and I've been debating, should I get it? Should I buy it? And even if it's in my closet, I've debated, should I wear it? Maybe not. It's not the right time. It's not the right occasion. Why do I think this way? If I want to wear it, I should wear it because one day I will regret not wearing it. Which is why, specifically on vacation, I have the most extra outfits because I'll regret not wearing an outfit that made me feel extra hot, extra spicy, especially on vacation when it's the perfect time to experiment with fun outfits. I literally have done this for every single trip. I make a little mood board and I get cute outfits and I make sure to literally wear every single outfit that I pack somehow, some way, because I know that I will regret not wearing it. There's also a lot of times where I have felt really insecure in myself about wearing certain things that might look risque, might have people staring at me. Who gives a shit? It's my life, it's my body, and it is my choice. And I choose to wear anything and everything that makes me feel fun, makes me feel cute. There will be a time when we are a lot older and we will look back and say, why didn't we wear more mini skirts? Why didn't we wear more booty shorts? Why didn't we wear more bra tops? Why didn't we wear more heels? Why didn't we wear the frills and the fringe and the pom-poms? Whatever. Why didn't we wear it? Now is the time. We are young and hot. We need to wear the outfit because we will regret it. Number 16, travel as much as you can. I have always had the travel bug ever since I was a kid, but as an adult, where I have my own money and the autonomy to travel, I have taken every opportunity that has come my way to travel and take myself places. It's extremely important to me to see as much as the world as possible because there's so much outside of where we live, and I am really determined to making the most of life through travel. It's so much fun and it's so exciting to get to go to new places. I just can't wait to keep on traveling, essentially. Yes, travel requires money, of course, and I highly recommend saving for the trips that you dream about. It's so fun to go to places that you've dreamed about. It changes everything. And it makes you so appreciative for finally taking yourself to said place. Traveling has also made me so much more worldly and so much more robust because I'm able to see how other people live. And I've talked to people from all over the world about their stories and about their life. And it is one of my most treasured memories. Number 17, live alone for a season of life. I first want to say, absolutely, living alone is a privilege. Honestly, wherever you are. I live in New York, so that privilege definitely is heightened because it is so expensive here. I am really thankful that I lived alone for 2.5 years. I was able to learn so much about myself. I was able to curate a space of my own. Also, just really thinking about the responsibility that comes with living on your own and everything you have to do to upkeep the apartment, that is on you. And it taught me so much about responsibility. I've always been a responsible person, but being the single leaseholder for 2 separate apartments has really helped me grow up. It has also helped me treasure my time alone so deeply. These last 2.5 years really changed how I approached my alone time. It has helped me look at it in a more fruitful way instead of dreading it, which I needed. I needed that exactly in the time of my life that I had it. And who knows, maybe it'll happen again, but I'm really thankful for those 2.5 years for giving me a literal space to heal and to grow and to relax in. I look at that time with such peace because I grew so much into myself, which is why I believe that it's important for everyone to have a season that they live alone. You'll spend a lot more time with yourself than you ever thought you would. And it is really beneficial for your personal development. Number 18, because it's trendy does not mean you need it. Especially in my earlier 20s, I felt the incessant need to jump on every single trend ever just because other people were doing it rather than listen to my own voice and what I really want. And when it came down to it, when I finally listened to myself, I realized that most of the trends out there I don't love and I don't care to participate in. So I essentially did a unofficial promise to myself to not subscribe to trends outright, to look at something that's happening as how is this going to add value to my life, and if it isn't, then it's not worth it, which has saved me a ton of money, let me tell you. It has helped me also be very thoughtful with what I bring into my life, into my space, into my closet. I don't think overconsumption is a positive thing. If there's something I really love, I will buy it, but it will first be a thoughtful conversation within myself to determine if it really makes sense for me. And on the flip side, there are products that I love so much that are technically trendy. Prime example, tretinoin, which is a topical acne medication, which you can only get if you're prescribed. You can't just walk into a store and get this. I started tretinoin about a year ago now, and honestly, that completely changed my skin for the better. Almost single-handedly aged me backwards. Big shout out to tretinoin. Number 19, listen to and go after your passions. My podcast episode number 9, Take a Chance on Yourself, really highlights my specific journey with going after my passion of content creation. And even if you don't want to turn your passions into a career, I'm not saying you have to. It is important to listen to what really excites you and integrate that into your life in a very prominent way. A lot of people have all of these exciting passions and things that they're interested in, but never do anything with them, never actually act on their passions, which is so sad. Life is about diving into the things that make you happy, that lift you up, that inspire you fully. If we're not leaning into our passions, we're doing something wrong. Number 20, celebrate yourself, even if you're celebrating alone. This one hits different than the other ones. I have spent a lot of time celebrating myself alone. And it is because a lot of people don't understand a lot of what I do with social media, which is tough. Even my best friends, they support me, but they're not in the world. And I don't expect them to understand all the nuances of what I do ever. That's okay. But I have yet to find people who are in the world of social media who are people who will want to really uplift you. I'm not talking about my actual communities on these platforms. I know that I have communities who are very loving and very uplifting. It is about people in real life. And I've hit a lot of really amazing milestones in my career with social media that I'm so proud of. And regardless of if anyone wants to celebrate me, I will absolutely celebrate myself. I will absolutely take myself out and enjoy everything I've created thus far. We would like for other people to celebrate us too in the ways that we crave. That's very specific, in the ways that we crave, because we deserve that. But a lot of people don't know how to, or honestly, transparently, don't want to. And so it's important for us to show up for ourselves always and make sure that we are clocking the big milestones, big or small, that we experience. Number 21, not everyone deserves 100% of you. Let's start with personality privileges. If you haven't heard that term, it is essentially saying that not every single person you come across deserves to see the full you, to get your full essence. You don't have to show everybody everything, because not everyone deserves it. If you've just met somebody, yes, you're supposed to be cordial, but don't need to share your whole life story. You probably shouldn't. You should probably keep some things to yourself until you learn more about this person. Even with your personality, you don't have to be your full 100% bubbly, super engaging self. You can decide the level in which you give someone based on how you feel about your interaction with them. A lot of people expect me to be my happy, super bubbly, extroverted side up front. Whoever thinks that I'm supposed to show up in that way, you're not really seeing me and you're not really hearing me, because I will not be that way to everybody, because not everyone deserves all of me. And a little caveat on this item is also do not change. Do not change for anyone. Who you are is enough and will be accepted by the right people. I have spent a lot of years feeling like I have to change myself personality-wise, physically, to fit the setting I'm in, to fit the group that I'm around, when that's bullshit. You should never feel like you have to mold yourself to appease other people. This has been a really hard lesson to learn over time, especially with dating. I have always felt like I needed to change how my hair looked or change an outfit to look more appealing to them, which is so dumb. I want to be very, very clear that I did a lot of this in my earlier 20s, but this podcast is a safe space, and it is also about sharing life lessons that I know I'm not alone in these life lessons either. I know I'm not the only one who's done these things or has experienced these things. But overall, do not change for anybody. Truly, the right people will not make you feel like there's anything wrong with you. First of all, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just around the wrong people. Number 22, go to therapy. Therapy is one of the most important things I did in my 20s. Collectively, I was in therapy on and off, but collectively 3 years. And those 3 years, I went into therapy a really broken person. I'll be honest, I was broken. I was volatile. I was angry at the world. And there was so many parts of life that felt really negative. And I came out of therapy. It really felt like a 180. It really felt like I took everything and absorbed it like a sponge. I was able to course correct in a very visible, tangible way, which has set me up for a lot of really good things in my life. And I do owe a lot of that to therapy. With therapy and with anything really, but specifically with therapy, you do have to apply what you learn into your life. Therapy was such a beautiful tool to help me in a time that I felt truly hopeless. It helped me work on my emotional intelligence. It helped me understand how to navigate conflict and situations that I had previously experienced that were really hard and damaging. It truly, honestly, did a 180 in my life. I recommend everyone to go to therapy. Number 23, leave the job you hate. As I mentioned in a past podcast episode, I walked you guys through my entire trajectory of how I got from being a corporate accountant to doing social media full time and running my own agency. Here's the thing. I really did hate my job. I really hated being in corporate accounting. I stayed in it as long as I did for others' benefit, not my own. What I learned at the ripe age of 26 is that I should not give all of myself to a job that honestly does not care about me. And mind you, even if I didn't go into social media after that, I knew that that specific job was sucking my soul. Every single time I went into work, I felt so drained mentally and physically, and that is no way to live. That is so unhealthy. I'm really happy I had the foresight that I did at the ripe age of 26, but I urge you to really self-evaluate your work environment. We do spend a lot of time working and we need to at least enjoy it to some degree. It is such a big component of your life that you should not take lightly. So if you are in a position that you really do hate your job or your work situation, I also know it's not as easy as just saying leave. However, you need to deeply consider your other options. Number 24, moments are fleeting, live in each of them. Working in social media, it has definitely been a little hard to navigate this, but as much as I know that I have to capture content for work, it is increasingly important to me to then take a step back and physically put my camera away, put my phone away, and be in the moment, whether it be with my friends or if it's just by myself, taking in the literal moment that I'm living in. Because outside of capturing it, yes, I have that memory, but I want to physically be present with what I'm doing and where I'm at. Doing this practice has also granted me a lot more peace in my life. I'm able to disassociate from the digital world and be a more active participant in my life as it's happening. Number 25, wake up early. Waking up early sets you up for success. I talked about this in episode 38, which is the great lock-in episode. Your morning will really set you up for so much if you carve out the time. Building a routine you love will really change how you approach each and every day. And honestly, it will make you a lot more effective and productive. There's so much time that the mornings can give you. I try to wake up at 7 a.m. every single day. And even waking up at 7, I do feel a lot more calm and ready to tackle my day first by making sure that I'm set up for success. Number 26, learn how to cook. Cooking is a life skill that honestly everyone should have. And I'm not talking you need to be chef level, but you should be able to make a few key meals that you can rotate each and every week. I used to hate cooking, by the way. So this is coming from someone who did not like the process of cooking because I just didn't like how long it took. I was just impatient. But now I'm looking at cooking as more of a act of self-care, taking my time with it, putting music on, throwing a podcast on. How I find these recipes is mostly through TikTok or the cookbooks that I have at home. There's also a lot of recipes on Pinterest. Number 27, feeling lonely is not the end of the world. Once upon a time, I did think this was the end of the world, but clearly here I am telling you that it is not, because truly it isn't. Life doesn't end because you're lonely. There's so many ways also that you can take yourself out of a lonely state. Whenever I felt lonely, especially in New York, I remember, NK, you're literally in New York City. There's nothing to feel lonely about. Go outside, take a walk. You'll already be so overstimulated in 2 seconds just by being out and people watching, and that's all I need. But with this, I really want to emphasize solo dates. At this point, I basically go on a solo date, even if it's just impromptu, at least once a week. As I mentioned, it's really important to enjoy your own company. We spend the most time with ourselves out of anyone else, so we should like our company. And the only way to really like your company and start to grow within yourself is to actively take yourself out places and actively do activities with yourself, to sit with your own thoughts, to learn more about yourself. So I am a strong proponent on solo dates. Solo dates can be whatever you want them to be. It just has to be solo. You're just by yourself doing said activity. I go to the museum by myself. I have gone to eat by myself. I've gone on walks by myself. I do arts and crafts days by myself. There's so many ways that you can take yourself out of that lonely place by romanticizing your own solo time. Number 28, you like who you like. This is about dating and boys and growing up realizing that I don't have to date or even marry the person that my parents want me to be with, the type of person that society paints a picture of me needing to be with, because that's all bullshit. If I can recall, the person who's going to be in said relationship is me. So I need to like who I'm with and I need to enjoy their company, find them attractive. Which is why I say you like who you like. You like who you like. It's not about your parents. It's not about your friends. It's not about society. It is about who you like. I've dated so many different guys. Honestly, the spectrum of race, their profession, everything. I've dated the whole rainbow, it feels like. Even though I've dated all these different types of people, I definitely have a gravity pull towards a specific type of guy. Now that I know that within myself, that is shaping how I've been dating, and that's shaping who I am seeking out and who I'm talking to. I have removed everyone else's voices and focused on my own. Number 29, eat less processed sugar. I've mentioned this a ton about lowering my sugar intake because it's good for your overall health. I'm learning more and more that as I get older, sugar is definitely not processing the same way like I was a kid. I have taken it upon myself to set very strict limits on how much I consume. I actually don't just go and buy processed sugar just for the hell of it. Only consume it for special occasions, which has really helped me lessen my sugar overall. If you're struggling with your sugar intake, I highly recommend implementing some type of system that will make it feel more of a once in a while treat rather than you're mindlessly eating it. And number 30, it is not too late. It is not too late for anything in your life. It is not too late to restart your career, to move somewhere you've never been, to write a book, to get married, to do so many things, to do anything. It is not too late. We're just beginning. Honestly, my 30th year has been such a fruitful year of learning about myself and, more importantly, being a lot more comfortable in myself than I ever have been in my life. My 30th year brought me that, which I'm very thankful for. Feeling lost is part of the process to getting where you're supposed to be. My journey and my trajectory is my own. There's no timeline. There's no race to get to where I want to go. There's so many things I want to do, and I fully believe that I can and will do them. And when I look at so many people who are older than me, who are so successful, it also gives me a lot of comfort because I know that they hit their stride way later than me. And that just helps me understand and believe that it is not too late to literally be anything I want to be, to hit all the milestones I want, to achieve the things that I so deeply want. You have time. However old you are as you're listening to this, you have time. And we get to decide our perception of where we're at in our life. We should be looking at our lives as an unwritten book where we literally get to name each chapter and we literally get to write each page, because there's so much that we get to do. And with that, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Misunderstood. Remember to rate the podcast 5 stars on Apple and Spotify and follow it wherever you are listening. Join our Geneva group chat. It is always linked in the description of every single podcast episode. Hang out with me on my other socials, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest at NK Madani. And I will talk to you guys in my next one.